Hi, good evening. How was your day? Are you ready to drift into sleep? All the things you worked hard on, all the happy moments, and the little worries that made you feel tired. Let's gently set them down for now. The story you are about to hear is a gentle tale with a touch of wonder. It's about a boy and a quiet meeting with the music that had been sleeping inside an old mansion. So now, wrap yourself up in your blanket, take a deep, deep breath, and let your body and heart slowly soften. The story is about to begin. Haru and the music box in the old mansion. On the edge of a little town, deep in a quiet forest, stood a large, lonely mansion. The windows were cracked, the door creaked, the walls were peeling. People in the town would say that place is haunted, and no one ever came near. But for Haru, it was different. To him, that old house was a quiet, special place where he could say the things he couldn't tell anyone else. Every day after school, Haru walked to the mansion. He followed the overgrown path, climbed the wooden steps, and headed straight to the big room. In the middle of that room was a great big rocking chair. Creak, sway, creak, sway. Haru loved sitting there, gently rocking back and forth as he began to speak. Today, my teacher got mad at me. I was being a bit too silly in class. He looked down for a moment, then suddenly brightened. But guess what? I got a really good score on my math test. I studied hard last night. It felt just like someone was sitting beside him, smiling and saying, "Good job." Warmth quietly filled Haru's heart. One day, Haru peeked into the cold, dusty fireplace. Something hard was stuck among the ashes and dirt. He reached in gently and pulled it out. It was a small, old music box. The box was made of dark wood. On the lid, soft carvings of a crescent moon and clouds gently shimmered in the light. The clouds flowed like soft waves, and the moon, thin and pale, seemed to glow with a quiet blur of light. When Haru traced the carvings with his finger, he felt something more than just wood, something warm. That day, Haru turned a little key on the music box. G, G. He wound it slowly, carefully. Then he opened the lid. Tin tararang, tin tararang. A gentle melody drifted into the air. It moved like clouds passing through the sky, a little lonely but warm, like sunlight in the distance. When the music stopped, the big wooden clock gave a sudden gong. Harry looked up in surprise. Did that just move? The next day, Harry picked up the music box again. Gee, gee. He turned the key once more. Ding, da-la-lang, ding, da-la-lang. A soft breeze blew. The curtains swayed gently. But something was different. The old dawn curtain was now a clean, white lace curtain. Was it always like this? Harry whispered. Another day, he wound the key a little longer. Gee, gee. The notes floated through the room, and in the sunlight, the dust in the air sparkled like tiny stars. A painting on the wall, once dull and faded, seemed to have just a bit more color. This room feels warmer, Harry thought. The fourth time, he held a box with calm hands. Gee, gee. He wound the key slowly, then gently opened the lid. Ding, da-la-lang, ding, da-la-lang. The sound spread quietly, like gentle waves soaking into soft white sand. Then, in the mirror across the room, a girl appeared. She had long, softly swaying hair and wore a pale dress with a delicate lace color. She looked like she had stepped out of an old fairy tale, familiar yet mysterious. She smiled kindly and said, "I heard it, Haru. The music from the box woke me from my sleep. I've been waiting here all this time." She looked at the music box in his hands and smiled softly. "I loved that pattern, especially the crescent moon. Whenever the moon came out, I would open the window and listen to the music box. The sound drifting with the wind was my favorite thing in the world." From then on, Harry played the music box again and again. Gee, gee. Each time, the room grew a little warmer, and he had long, gentle conversations with the girl in the mirror. But one day, Harry noticed something. The melody was getting shorter. Even when he wound the key just the same, the music didn't last as long. He looked at the girl. She smiled and said, "One day, the music will stop. That's how you'll know it's time to go. Because Somewhere new is waiting for you. Little by little, the sound grew shorter. Zee, zee. Then, one day, no matter how much he wound the key, the box stayed silent. The mirror was empty, and the girl was gone. Haru closed the lid and sat quietly in the middle of the room. The rocking chair swayed slowly in the quiet room. Creak, sway, creak, sway. But Haru wasn't afraid. It felt like, you'll be okay, be brave, and find your new place. As if someone had gently placed a warm hand on his back. Years passed. Haru grew up. One spring day, he remembered the old mansion again. It was still there, a little more broken now. Its walls covered in vines swaying in the breeze. Inside, nothing seemed to have changed. The rocking chair was still there, and so was the music box resting on the dusty fireplace. Haru picked it up carefree and brushed away the dust. Pat, pat. Zee, zee. He wound the key, but the box stayed silent. He hugged the music box to his chest and walked to the window. A thin crescent moon hung in the sky. Though small, its light still reached into the room, softly shining all around him. Haru closed his eyes and softly began to hum the tune he remembered so well. Ding, da la lang, ding, da la lang. Just then, a breeze fluttered the curtain. A light simmered in the mirror, and for a moment, he saw that gentle, familiar smile. In that instant, the music came back to him, clear and warm. He felt like he was back in those days, laughing with the girl in the mirror as if nothing had changed. And then the breeze whispered one last time. Welcome home, Haru. That's the end of tonight's story. Thank you for listening. Sweet dreams. Good night.